Hey, everybody. We're Lisa and Greg.
Welcome to GLR, where we break out of our American bubble and discover Europe.
All right. And today we're going to be taking a look at why there are weird, slow cars all over Sweden. And this is by Matthias Schwarzer. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. I don't know. I think that's how you say it.
Yeah, I'm not sure where he's from in order to know how to say that. This was actually recommended by Faralu on the Discord. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right, Faralu.
Forgive us.
Yeah, that's how we say it here in the house.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we're not sure. But she said that this was super interesting, and it just really sparked a curiosity when she suggested this. So I thought it was going to be a good one.
Yeah.
Okay, today's topic might be a bit unexpected, but we have to talk about Swedish traffic.
Oh, is there such a thing?
I guess so.
Good music.
Just a few months back, I spent a few weeks in Scandinavia. I went from Germany to Lapland and back, so I spent many days on the roads and most of these days in Sweden. And I noticed a few weird things along the road. For example, this beautiful landmark, which is obviously a cheese slicer.
Oh.
Why Sweden? Why? But I also noticed a few things on the road itself. First of all, every second person in Sweden obviously drives a Volvo. Second thing, every third person in Sweden obviously drives a vintage car. And I don't mean like 20, 30, 40-year-old cars. No, I mean really old American vintage cars like this one, for example, I saw in the town of Gränna in southern Sweden. But the third thing I noticed is actually...
That is funny.
Those cars are really cool.
They are really cool.
When we see those in the U.S., we owe everybody like just follows it.
Yeah.
You know, and especially when they're pretty purple like that.
We used to go to car shows and all that.
Yeah.
I remember your dad knew every year. He probably could tell you what car that was.
Yeah, 1962 or something. I don't know.
It's not.
I don't know.
Well, it's just funny because it's like right next to like 2024 something.
I wonder if it's special out there, like how it's special in the U.S. For them. But because he says everybody drives one.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
That's true.
Interesting.
Yeah.
American vintage cars like this one, for example, I saw in the town of Gränna in southern Sweden. But the third thing I noticed is actually the most interesting and the most funny thing, because I've never seen something like that in other European countries before. If you drive through Sweden, from time to time, there will be a situation where you will get stuck in a traffic jam. And the reason for this traffic jam is always the same. It's a super weird looking, slow driving car that has no license plate on its back, but a huge warning sign. Those strange cars are all over Sweden. Some of them are super noisy, some of them are also a bit smelly, some of them have like weird decorations and lighting and stuff, but all of them are driving super, super slow.
Okay,
so
and
I was wondering, what the heck is that?
So they're normal cars. That's what I'm noticing. They're normal cars. They're not like government looking cars or tinted cars or anything like sedans.
Right.
You know, they're just all normal cars, and some of them smell.
That's interesting. I wonder if it's like has to do with emissions. Like because they did look a little older, so I'm wondering if like they can't go above a certain speed limit if they don't. I don't know.
Oh, and they have to warn people that that's how they drive.
Maybe, I don't know.
Okay,
I'm pretty sure they'll tell us.
What's the story behind those weird, slow driving cars, and why is there obviously such a hype about them in Sweden? Well, let's find out.
That's Nice intro.
Yeah.
If you thought German people, like I am, have a weird obsession for cars, well, you might be right, but I think the Swedish car culture is even more interesting. The reason why there are so many Volvos on the road, for example, is quite obvious. Volvo is a Swedish company, so it's by far the best-selling car brand in Sweden, with 52,000 sold cars in 2020. Volkswagen is only on number 2 with 42,000, and Kia on number 3 with 25,000 sold cars. The reason for the vintage car hype in Sweden is a bit more interesting.
Uh-oh.
After the Second World War, the Swedish government imported many vehicles from the US to meet the demand for cars in the country. In the 19th and 20th century, there were also many Swedish emigrants that came to the US and who supplied relatives with vehicles from abroad. Those cars are still driving around on the streets today, and especially if you drive through Sweden on the weekends, you almost feel a bit like you're in a different time zone or something.
Oh.
But, well, the most interesting...
I wonder if they have car shows too.
So maybe, but that's super interesting. So it's like the reason that they're so cool there is the same reason they're cool in America.
Yeah.
Or in the United States. It's because they're old cars and people probably refurbish them and all that.
Yeah. And it's easy to repair them and work on them. It's fun. True. It's a good hobby.
That's true.
To repair old cars like that.
That's true.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Thing is in fact the hype behind those weird, slow driving cars in Sweden. So let's check out the story behind them.
Okay.
Let's go back to the 1930s.
At
that time, there was a great need for agricultural machines in Sweden, but only a few farmers could actually afford them. So the Swedish government had an idea that obviously no other country had at that time, and an idea that still has impact today. The Swedish government created the possibility of converting old, ordinary cars into tractors. And, well, that's what the farmers did. This is how such a converted car looks like a strange mixture of a car.
Wait, so is that...
That's why they smell, because they're like tractors. And you know how tractors in the U.S. have those big triangle signs, and they go on the road and they're slow.
That's true. Oh, dang.
Oh, what the heck?
You cracked the code.
Yeah.
We could just stop the video.
I know. I don't like this.
Stop it. All right, that's cool. It looks like they have a hitch right there. I think that's what that looks like on the back.
Looks like it might be a hitch.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And also the middle finger on the window. But, that's something different.
Yeah, you got a little personality.
Yeah.
Such a converted car looks like a strange mixture of a car and a truck.
Look
the farmers started to build those vehicles from material that was lying around on the farms anyway, and soon those strange cars also got a name. They were called EPA Traktor, or EPA tractor translated, because EPA at that time was a Swedish cheap department store. So EPA Traktor means something like cheap tractor. There were a few requirements that had to be taken to convert a car into a tractor. For example, the rear axle of the vehicle was not allowed to be sprung. The tractors were only allowed to have one row of seats. They had to have a loading area and a trailer coupling, and the engine output had to be throttled. But with everything else, the farmers could be as creative as they wanted to be. So in the 1930s and 40s, those EPA tractors became really popular on Swedish farms. And for many, many years, they did their job really, really well. However, in the 1950s, the hype around those EPA tractors slowly subsided. The prices for real agricultural machinery were slowly falling, and more farmers could afford a real tractor. So the EPA Traktor slowly died. But well, as you might know, every huge hype sooner or later will have a comeback. And that happened in the 1960s. The EPA tractor that was actually used as an agricultural machine now was used by the farmers' kids. The reason for that has something to do with the Swedish traffic law. In Sweden, you are allowed to drive such a slow-driving vehicle like the epatraktor at the age of 15. A few decades ago, it was even allowed to drive such a car at the age of 14 if you were living on a farm. So what happened was, for many young people, the epatraktor became a symbol of freedom. Since there was no real public transport in the countryside, many farmers' kids started to use those machines to drive to school or to meet with friends.
That is so
super cool. Yeah, it's like more than just a car. It's like a vintage, cool, different tractor car thing.
And they're safe.
Yeah,
I mean,
that's true. That's true.
The only thing that would be worrisome is if they're on a 2-lane highway and people are getting annoyed trying to pass them and stuff like that. So you would have to teach them kind of pull over for people or pull to the side as much as you can.
Yeah.
You know.
But maybe just they're younger. Everybody who drives sees those kind of cars know who they are.
Yeah.
So
it's kind of like that they're young.
Yeah. And they can learn how to drive. You don't have to worry about them being 16 and going 1,000 miles an hour with all their friends. And if you remember, those cars could only have one row of seats.
Oh, yes.
So they can't have 4 friends in the back texting with loud music and everything. Genius.
And I wonder if they even allowed radios in there. Because that's what a lot of the kids, they get themselves in trouble blaring the music and not concentrating.
That's true. Yeah, look at Sweden.
Oh.
Unfortunately, the Swedish government didn't really like this trend. There were a few politicians that saw those EPA tractors as a safety issue, and there were also a few teenagers that caused accidents with those machines. So in 1970...
Well, that just got shot to hell.
No, we were so excited. That was like the greatest thing ever.
Man, shoot.
Dang.
Dang it.
What do we know?
Obviously nothing.
1995, the EPA tractor finally was forbidden and the dream of freedom was over. In fact, there were a lot of protests at that time in Sweden because of this rule, and over the years the law changed many times. First, people were told to scrap their vehicles. Later, the government decided that people could keep them, but it was not possible to register new tractors anymore. And in the end, finally, a new rule was passed that was satisfactory for everybody. The rule of the so-called A tractor. In general, the A tractor is basically the same as the EPA tractor. It's still a converted car, but with a huge difference. From now on, a warning sign at the back of the car was mandatory, and the A tractor is only allowed to drive 30 kilometers per hour. And yep, you're absolutely right. Those are the cars we still see on Swedish roads today.
You know, I assumed that they had that orange sign when we were talking about the kids using them back then. So without that orange sign, that you don't know that those kids are learners and they're children and that's a special car.
Right.
Or a special tractor.
Right. That's true.
So that I could see how that's makes a difference.
Yeah.
Then automatically, like out here, they have those L's for learners.
For new drivers. I think it's even after you get your license, like for a year.
A year, I think.
I think so, yeah.
So, okay.
Yeah. That makes sense. Okay.
The funny thing about all this is this EPA or A tractor thing exists for many years now in Sweden. But the real hype around those machines didn't start in the 70s or 80s or 90s. No, it started last year. And the reason for that is another change in the Swedish law. From now on, it's not only allowed to convert old cars into a tractor, from now on it's also allowed to convert newer models and also cars with automatic transmission. In the past, the upper gears of those old vehicles had to be blocked or a reduction gear was built in at great expense. Today, with newer models, the maximum speed can also be limited electronically. So what happened was, within just 1 year, the registration numbers of those A tractors rose by 27%. 36,000 people in Sweden are driving those cars meanwhile. And if you saw mostly converted old Volvos in the past, meanwhile you also see BMWs, Mercedeses, Audis, and there are also 76 Porsches registered for minors in Sweden. Meanwhile, the hype around those vehicles has become a real youth culture. If you drive through Sweden, especially in the evenings, you will see a lot of teenagers at gas stations where they are meeting with those cars and where they tinker with the car. Many of them also decorate their cars in an extraordinary way, for example with tree-shaped air fresheners or stickers. Of course, not everybody's happy with this development. Some say that those cars are still safety issues because they are driving so slow and other cars always have to overtake them and that might cause accidents. Others say those cars are still too fast for teenagers, but some also say it's actually the best thing that could happen to Swedish teenagers because long before they have their driving license, they actually learn how to drive safely on Swedish streets. So it could also have a positive effect.
See, in the United States, it's not that huge of a difference because we're allowed to be on the road at 15 with a parent or guardian.
Yeah, I think 15 and a half or something.
Yeah, and then we're allowed to be on the road solo at 16.
That's crazy when you think about it.
I know, it is crazy when you think about it.
But I think that's cool because I could see it being like a like sometimes they'll take an old school bus and turn it into it becomes like a thing. Yeah. Like you want to have a cool looking bus that looks a certain way. So they probably want to like design these cars. And,
keeps them occupied. Yeah. Keeps them occupied in a good habit, a good, hobby that's decent. Mm-hmm. That's not bad. Yeah. I think it's cute that they're all together and hanging out and decorating it. And
I think it's a good way to like regulate how they learn. Because they can see everything. They can see stop lights, stop signs, rules of the road, all that, and they can do it slow. Yeah. So that's great. It slow. Yeah.
I'm not really sure. What do you think about all this? Maybe write it down in the comment. Should this regulation also be possible in other countries? Would you buy an A-tractor if you would have the chance? Let me know in the comments and maybe we can discuss this topic a little bit. So, and that was my story about the EPA tractor and the A-tractor in Sweden. I hope you learned something. If you did, then please leave a thumbs up. You can also hit the subscribe button of this channel so you won't miss.
All right, that was great.
That was great.
That was super interesting.
That was interesting. Yeah. Wow, we would have never known that. Thank you, Faralu.
Thank you, Faralu. And that's what we do on this channel. We learn about Europe. Right. So we learn something new.
Yeah, and it's fun to learn about the obscure things, the things that, this is unique. Yeah, yeah. That, it's above and beyond. Ooh, Sweden's pretty and, whatever. Right. So this is pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, we really appreciate you being here today.
Oh, you want to read the comments?
Oh, yeah. Comments. Sorry. I was ready to get out of here,
Well, I just kind of was curious to see what they thought. What Swedish? Swedens? Swedens?
What are you trying to say?
Swedish people?
Yeah, Swedish.
Okay. Think about all this. Well, I mean, you guys could tell us in the comments.
I'm glad you said something because I was about to go. I know. All right, let's take a look here. As a Swede, my mother has told me multiple times.
Swede. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
As a Swede, my mother has told me multiple times that she would kill me if I got an A-tractor. Oh, wow.
Okay.
So I guess we won't be doing that. Okay. The cheese slicer is a sculpture in Anasent. I'm not sure how you say that. Indicating that you are entering the cheese region. Oh. Symbolic for the special area where the Västerbotten, that's probably, I don't know how you say it, cheese is made. Similar to the Champagne region is the Mecca for bubbly wine. Cool. All right, one more. In Germany, there is a statement written into law, STVO, which states that without good reason, a motor vehicle must not travel so slowly as to impede the flow of traffic. Even farming traffic tests the legendary patience of German folk.
I know. I mean, there is a level of, just like there's a level of when you get stuck behind a garbage truck or when you get stuck behind a bus, a school bus or, you guys don't have school buses out here, but when you get stuck behind a tractor,
Yeah.
it does suck.
It does suck a little bit.
Yeah, but
I think
is.
it's good. I think there's there's pros and cons to it, just like probably a lot of other things.
Yeah.
So,
It's easy to pass those cars, though.
yeah.
And so it's not difficult. It's harder to pass, say, like an RV that's traveling 60 and you're trying to, now you got to go 80.
That's true.
To pass it. So it is easy.
It is easier. Yeah. Okay, now can I just...
Yes.
Okay, all right.
No.
Well, we do appreciate you being here. If you want to support the channel further, go ahead and like the video, and you can also subscribe. As always, thanks for stopping by, and we will see you on the next video.
Bye.
Peace.